All right, calligraphy class. Today we're going to learn to do a double line calligraphy piece, and I've sent you this in the reference photos for this week's class. This particular paper is actually a stock piece of paper that you can buy that has this little filigree where it's kind of blue at the top and kind of black on top of the kind of teal color in the middle. Then the calligraphy was done in gold. Then it was also shadowed, and you can see all of these things really well when you pick it up. But what I'm talking about is leaving this little white line, the little black line that's inside there. It looks like this color, this teal color, is coming through the letters. Now there's two different ways to accomplish this. One is to do two strokes, and one is to come back with the dark on top of a thick stroke. So we're going to play around with both of those. And I have this little grid paper that I kind of like to use when I'm practicing my calligraphy, and I draw me a really light guideline to get my baseline for my words straight and not not gone crazy. And it doesn't need to be very dark, so just know that you're going to pick one. You can take a ruler and just draw a light line, and it does the same thing. So if I were going to do, I chose this because it says coffee. You all know me, right? So I'm going to choose to do the word coffee. So I'm going to come in, and then I'm going to make my second row. This actually should be a little bit closer together than that. And then I'm going to do the O. And then I'm going to do the second row of the O. And then the F. And I'm going to do the second row of the F. You can do it on the outside or the inside, whichever one you feel that you can follow the line the easiest. And it's going to look like this, okay? So I've done the word coffee here with this same gold, and I've gone back and I've shadowed it, and I've left this white in between. I drew this little cup. I was going to color it in and be all kinds of cute and crazy for you guys, but anyway, I didn't finish filling that out. And then I'm going to come out, blending it in, making the E, coming out, making the next E, coming out. And then on the very end, I just kind of did this little kind of whimsical looking little, like it was, the smoke, or the steam coming from a cup of coffee. And so I was going to have this little, because we've been talking about doing illustrative pieces and stuff like that. So this is one way to get the effect that we're talking about this week. Now another way is to actually paint a background, and instead of doing this whole thing, which would take a good while, these are watercolor pencils, right? Pretty basic. You're literally just going to use the side of the pencil like this at this angle, and it will fill in the space really well for you. And I thought using the browns would be really something different than what I sent you, which is blue and teal and brownish kind of green at the bottom. It's actually probably black on top of that teal that's really faded. But this is kind of a fun thing to do as well, is to add a background color. If you don't have papers, you kind of have to make your papers. And so probably should sharpen that, but I'm not so worried about the lines in it because I kind of want this to look like wood. And this is all I'm doing for this. You can actually cut the edges and, you know, make it look like a piece of wood that's, you know, broken off on the edges and stuff like that. And with watercolor pencil, I have a wet brush. Now, this is a drippy brush. I don't know if you can see that drop coming off the bottom, but that's too much. So you want to clean off most all of the water. And so right now, since I've pressed the tip of my brush on both sides onto my paper towel, only the end here is going to be wet. And that's really pretty much all that you want for watercolor pencil. And I'm going to wet this. Don't soak your paper, especially if it's the, you know, the calligraphy papers are very thin. So you just kind of want to lightly water those colors together, creating some of the striations that you would see in wood. And I probably should have done a second coat of color before I wet this, but this is how this particular picture would look done in the watercolor pencil in the background. And then I did the coffee right on top. But instead of leaving a space, I did it with a thick pencil. And so, I mean, a thick marker. So if you're going to do that, whoops, really should have been laying down. Sorry about the dents in the table and whatnot. So I'm just going to turn this book. Well, I can't do that. Okay, well, but it should be nice and thick, right? So then you're going to come up skinny and thick for the O. Thick, right? Like this. Really thick, pressing down. Y'all can actually hear that color. Now this is kind of a salmon color. You can pick whatever color you happen to have. It doesn't matter. But think of the background as being black. Then I'm going to use the dark brown, but I'm going to use the small end just because you can control it a little bit better. Now, I went over this see a couple times, so the paper's still a little moist. And what you're going to do is just create this little line inside. Like this. And how fun is that? You just kind of draw your little coffee cup and all. Let's see if it's too wet. Oh, it's not too bad. Anyways, that is always kind of a fun way to do this particular project where you have this little line on the inside of the down strokes that you make. There's going to be that where it almost looks like there's a separation, like there's a little cutout of the letter itself. Now, in doing this project, I want you to do it just like this one. So you'll notice that I have the shadow of the wood on there as well, just like she does in her piece here. So this one, you can see the angle that she used to make it look like the light's coming in over here, hitting the tops of the words and casting these kind of longer shadows on here. You can try that if you'd like, or you can just do a regular shadowed piece like this. And you'll notice I've done this many times practicing. I like the way this one turned out with the gradation on the bottom, but I didn't think the C was round enough. So I came back and made a rounder C, but then I kind of, you know, flubbed the thickness of the O there, and I like this O better. And I was using the brush side of the pen to do this one, and anyways, I just didn't really like it. So I like the gradation of two different colors coming into each other, and then I used the gray along the right side of everything, and I even drew in the little cup with the steam coming out. So you get to pick your word. Does not have to be coffee, but y'all know me and coffee. And how many times do I do the same piece before I show you guys is, that's still a little bit wet, but you can kind of tell how it would be fun to come in here and do the word on top. Now this way, I've got a double thickness, and it kind of tells me where the little line in the center will end up being. Keep practicing, guys. Nothing is going to make you better than just to practice, right? Now, see, if I do the tip side, the brush side, it's going to turn out fat like this one did here. You can't get a really skinny line. If you're looking for a skinny line, you have to use the skinny end of the pen, right? Very simple. You can make it a little bit thicker in the center by just going a little thicker, you know, right in the dead center. So it looks a little bit more like there's a cutaway in the letter. So thin at the tips, little bit thicker in the middle, and that looks awesome as well. All right, y'all know what to do. I'm going to hand it over to y'all. Do a project with a background. If you have some colored paper at home, feel free to use that. You can also use the gold pens. Any of the metallics will work well on top of a colored piece of paper. And I'm getting ready to show you that, so you'll see that in our next lesson. So have fun creating the little lines in the middle. See you next time.